Buongiorno, Sunday in Rome, day 3, and the city had a quiet blessing waiting for us. We woke up with 0 tickets booked, only to discover it was the last Sunday of the month, which meant every site we wanted to visit was free. If divine timing needed proof, this was it. Learning from yesterday, I was up again at 5 a.m., tired but determined, and by 6:30 we stepped into the cool, hushed streets of Rome. Unsure about the commute, we started walking, then suddenly ended up running across a roundabout, thinking we had missed our bus. But then, just like yesterday, bus 83 found us. At this point, it felt less like transportation and more like a guardian angel on wheels. Laughing, breathless, we rode it to the river and switched to bus 280. The one dropped us almost right at St. Peter's Square. And then the magic started. Because today we were entering another country, Vatican City. The home to one of the sacred buildings ever created and the smallest country on earth. The sun was still climbing, golden light was slipping between the narrow Roman streets, and at the end of the path, the Basilica appeared, glowing like a painting. We were not sure if documentation was needed to enter another country, but we had our passports on us. And shout out to the sweet travelers from Calgary we met on first night in Rome. Your advice saved us more than once. When we arrived there, I saw people in the lineup already, and I was upset for not arriving even earlier. But my partner reminded me we still beat the chaos. That alone was a blessing. There were 2 lines, right side for individual visitors and left side for groups and tours. We joined the right, and within minutes we were already at security. And then the twist. It wasn't just any Sunday, it was the Sunday when the Pope gives his live address. The chairs inside suddenly made sense, but it also meant the Basilica was closed to visitors until after the speech. Our entire plan fell apart. We came early for the Basilica. Everyone warns about the insane lines later in the day, and now we didn't know what to do. Then we learned the Sistine Chapel was open during this time. But once we stepped out of security, we couldn't re-enter without queuing again. Do we stay for the Pope or go see one of history's greatest masterpieces? It felt like a travel dilemma only Rome could create. And honestly, at that moment, I could only think of one thing: the washroom, travel rule. Deep debates can wait, but a full bladder cannot. When we finally stepped out, the square was filling fast. Flags waving, voices singing, everyone gathering for the Pope's speech. For a second, I wondered if leaving was a mistake. But we kept walking, and then another line appeared, a long, winding one, for the Vatican Museums and the Sistine Chapel. So we joined it. Little did we know this line would test every bit of patience we had. It barely moved. People were darting off for coffee and washroom breaks. We didn't dare. The line behind us kept stretching further and further. Time felt slow. We kept calculating, will we make it before closing? What if the chapel shuts early? Hours passed, and then finally we were there. Inside, the crowd scattered in every direction. We took the stairs without thinking, and somehow that turned out to be the right choice. The first stop wasn't a gallery, it was a rooftop terrace leading us into the Vatican gardens. Symmetrical, green, trimmed like poetry, and in the distance, rising like a quiet blessing, stood the dome of St. Peter's Basilica. In the courtyard, history and modernity met face to face. Pomodoros Sephora, Consephora turned gently in the center, a world cracking open to reveal another world within it. Nearby stood the guardian lion, its expression both fierce and gentle, watching over centuries of wandering souls. We rested on a bench, nursing our new shoes' pain and Canadian level walking stamina, while Rome laughed softly at us. The path toward the chapel unfolded like a slow, deliberate story. Rooms of sculptures, children frozen mid-play, men and women with expressions too layered to decode in seconds. Ceilings alive with color, greens, blues, golds shimmering in the light. Every corner felt like walking through someone's imagination. And then we reached a small pause before a staircase. A perfect still moment in the middle of all this grandeur. From rooftop to gardens, to courtyard, and to the staircase, one understands something profound. These weren't just buildings. They aligned nature with architecture, light with stone, earth with heaven, so everything would fall into place like a perfect picture, a piece borrowed from another time. We continued forward into a radiant lobby, sunlight filtering through high windows, warming the tapestries that lined the hall. Gigantic woven stories, thick as carpets, life with scenes stitched by hands long gone. The scent of old fabric, old stories, old souls, a sacred stillness. We didn't know it then, but this was the path leading us toward Michelangelo's masterpiece. So when we walked in there, I honestly had no idea what I was about to see. You think it's just another chapel, and then you look up. That entire ceiling, Michelangelo spent years creating it, lying on scaffolds, painting scene after scene, from sunrise to sunset. And suddenly you realize you are not just looking at art, you are standing inside someone's years of hard work, patience, and genius.
Cuckoo, babe.
The rooms where history once slept, thought, and dreamt. As we walked through the beautiful, truly beyond words hallway, we stepped into the next mesmerizing area of the chapel, the rooms. Through a directed walkway and this window view, we were on our way to private rooms of Pope Alexander VI, Pinturicchio, Pope Nicholas V, and Pius II. Spaces still echoing with the minds that shaped history. Painted ceilings, soft light falling through tall windows, fireplace corners created for warmth and reflection, rooms big enough to think, breathe, and exist with purpose. Standing there, you feel the intention in every stone. These weren't just living quarters, they were sanctuaries for the mind, homes designed to inspire, not suffocate. Spaces that make today's tiny, lifeless apartments, rooms, houses, or offices feel even tinier. After wandering through those soulful rooms, comparing their warmth with the cold practicality of modern life, we continued forward. Toward the exit, another piece of quiet beauty waited. Italian tiles, classic windows catching soft light, and peaceful benches placed right beside them. We sat there for a moment, letting the feet breathe and the mind catch up with everything our eyes had absorbed. Then we entered the main hall of the chapel where recording wasn't allowed. A Renaissance hall once used for papal ceremonies, walls covered with frescoes narrating saints, popes, and ancient biblical stories. Every corner whispered its own fragment of time. On our way out, we made a quick stop at the souvenir shop and picked up a tiny sculpture of Caesar. And with that, my Rome shopping officially began. We stepped out of this breathtaking sanctuary almost unwillingly, while our stomachs reminded us that we hadn't eaten all day. So we found a little cafe beside the garden that we earlier saw from the rooftop. And it was exactly the pause we needed, a moment to rest, to breathe, to watch the pigeons and people wandering through the greenery, and to prepare ourselves for the next wonder waiting somewhere else in Rome. And as we made our way toward the exit, still capturing a few more memories, a lady approached us with the warmest smile and asking if we could take a family photo for them. Of course, we did, and they loved the pictures, and I added a few candid shots too. The little skills I have picked up on this trip felt worth it in this moment. Tiny exchanges with strangers, yet somehow they make the day feel fuller. Outside, the line for St. Peter's Basilica was nothing like the morning chaos at the Sistine Chapel. It was barely half the length, almost peaceful. We had just joined it when a man with an ID badge walked up to us, speaking in a tone that sounded official enough to make everyone pause. For a moment, it felt like some major announcement until we realized he was a tour guide trying to sell next day tickets. Since we were leaving Rome on Monday, and thanks to reassurance from those around us, we smiled, thanked him, and stayed in line. And honestly, waiting there had its own charm. Broad brimmed hats casting soft shadows, a gentle breeze offering relief from the afternoon heat, strangers helping each other pick up dropped hats, adjusting strollers, guiding the one with the tickets to the express lines like old friends. A tiny, temporary community moving together toward the same sacred moment. At one point, I almost lost my partner in the shuffle when someone squeezed ahead of me. The security guard motioned me to the other side, but when I told him my partner was just up ahead, he kindly let me pass. Little gestures like that, simple kindness, stay with you long after the trip ends. And of course, I wasn't letting another moment slip by without capturing it. I pulled out my selfie stick and recorded a forever moment right in front of the basilica. We walked toward the entrance and began our visit from the right side. The first step inside, unbelievably peaceful, almost like the feeling I get at Harmandir Sahib in Amritsar. Quiet, grounding, familiar in a way that surprises you. Red हो गया means कि start हो गया. So I'm capturing here. So होना zoom sign है ना? So I can zoom it. But नहीं. होना सी. थल्ले आ रहा ना? So I can see. That maybe more up. ਤੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜ਼ੂਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਕੀ ਦੇਖ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਦੀ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਾਕ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਓ ਮੈਂ ਆਉਣੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ We didn't know then that St. Peter's Basilica would become the most intimate, soul-stirring part of our entire Italy journey. The architecture, the art, the sheer weight of history. It was overwhelming in the most beautiful, humbling way. Inside, we learned that St. Peter's Basilica stands on the site where St. Peter, one of Jesus' apostles and the first bishop of Rome, is believed to be buried. It took around 120 years to complete this masterpiece. Imagine that an idea sparked by one generation, carried forward by the next, finished by people who never met those who started it. A chain of creativity and faith passed hand to hand across more than a century. No wonder the interior left us speechless. My partner literally pulled out his phone inside the basilica, looked up the history, and we sat down together reading it right there, surrounded by quiet golden light. I come from a Sikh background, but I have always believed that devotion and positivity don't really belong to any one religion. They flow everywhere. I listen to everything: Buddhist mantras, Shiv mantras, Muslim prayers, and the peace they carry always feels the same. And that's exactly what I felt inside the basilica. I didn't know before coming here that this place would leave such a calming imprint on me. Inside, the soft echoes of prayers wrapped around us with this gentle warmth, almost like something familiar was calling out, even though the space itself was completely new to us. It didn't feel foreign at all. It felt universal. In between the clips, I have stayed quiet and left most of the clips exactly as they were. No cuts, no filters, just the natural sound of the basilica. So you can hear the same soft echoes we heard, and maybe feel a silver of the peace that held us there.
Cheryl, do I have that nose over there?
Dai, qualcosa della giustizia, c'è una risposta. Vai, vai.
ਦੂਜਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਫੋਲੋਅਰ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਓਟਿਸ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਲੋਕੀ ਬਸ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੇਮ ਦੇ ਦੀ
Babe?
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਫੋਟੋ ਸੀਗੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਭੇਜੀ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਅਪਲੋਡ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ here what you looking at center seat figure with halo this is Christ the Redeemer showing blessing with one hand and extending the other and welcome left side holding keys that's Saint Peter
So ਇੱਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੇਂਟ ਪੀਟਰ ਨੇ
keys ਕਿਹਦੇ ਹੋਲਡ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਹਾਂ ਸੋ ਆ Saint Peter ਆ ਇੱਧਰ ਉਹਦੇ
We stepped out of St. Peter's Basilica with our hearts still going, carrying the kind of quiet positivity that follows you long after you leave a sacred place. After capturing a few final photos, we found a spot outside to rest and let everything we had just seen settle, and our feet were crying to rest. We thought it's a good idea to give them some relief too from the new shoe pain.
ਜਸਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਣਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਉਹ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਸੀ ਇੱਕੋ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ
ਸੇਂਟ ਉਹ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਸੀਗੇ
My partner was super curious about where the famous chimney is, the one that releases the smoke when a new pope is chosen or during special ceremonies. So while we were there, we actually looked it up, watched a few videos, and figured it out. The chimney isn't on the basilica itself, it's right beside the dome, and smoke is actually lit from inside the Sistine Chapel. Our feet made us pause here for a quick breath before heading toward the place I have been excited about for days. My internet-inspired photo location. As we walked, the river and the castle slowly came into view, almost arranging themselves into the perfect frame. The photos didn't turn out the way the internet promised, but the moment did. Before I even reached the spot, something pulled me aside, and sitting on the edge here, sipping a refreshment, watching people float through their own stories, that breeze, that pause, That quiet emotion became the real memory,
ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੈਂਥੀਅਨ ਕੋਲ ਜਾਣਾ
the kind you can't post,
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਆਪਾਂ
just carry.
ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ ਉੱਥੇ ਡਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੁਣੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਪਈ ਹੈ ਮੇਰਾ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਤਾਂ ਵਾਕਿਆ ਨਾ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਨਾ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ 10 ਮਿੰਟ ਬਹਿਨੇ ਫੇਰ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਰਾਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦਾ
यहाँ पर बैठ जाने में बहुत टाइम है
We were grateful for the pause because by then our feet were absolutely begging for mercy. Sitting by the riverbank felt like the day had given us a small gift, a gentle moment to breathe. Across the water, a restaurant spilled soft music onto the river. Boats drifted by with tourists enjoying the evening breeze, and sky changed its color like it was part of the show. My partner got hungry as expected, so he grabbed a snack and we enjoyed it right by the water. Here is a little girl inside me, living the life she has once dreamt of. On our way to the next timed entry, I tried creating a sweet, candid moment on the bridge with my partner, and you will have to tell us how we did. The funniest part, I came here for solo pictures and forgot to take even one. Luckily, I found these solo video clips to post. After seeing me a wee upset about it, he officially volunteered to be on photographer duties for life. He even promised to learn how to take good shots of me, manifesting the best results. Fingers crossed. We photographed everything: cute little cars, pigeons, warm buildings on our way to the next destination, while politely escaping the bracelet sellers. They were not fans of my no thank you. I also made a second purchase, a supposedly leather bag. My experience buying that bag was honestly quite upsetting. The sales lady's tone felt harsh, and when she spoke to her coworker while looking at me in a language I couldn't understand, and it was not Italian, it just didn't feel kind. Being from Canada and the default setting is politeness, moments like that, they really stay with you. You want to stand up for yourself, but sometimes you freeze, and the feeling lingers long after. I did end up buying the pink tote that you will see in my upcoming videos. Later in the trip, a local Italian saleswoman explained that authentic Italian-made items are less common in shops run by non-Italian vendors, and that put the whole experience into perspective. Soon we we reached the Pantheon, a place that felt extra special because it was the first landmark we saw when we landed in Rome. I had been waiting to see it from the inside, especially knowing it's the only ancient Roman structure still perfectly intact and still in use. My partner had bought Skip the Line audio tour guide for both of us, which saved us the waiting time in lines.
You want to hear the...
Originally built by Emperor Agrippa around 27 BCE and later rebuilt by Emperor Hadrian in 126 CE, the Pantheon was dedicated to all Roman gods. Its engineering remains unmatched. The giant dome is still the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. Light enters through the oculus, moving across the interior like a slow moving spotlight. The marble floors, massive columns, and the echoing silence makes it feel like time has paused inside. When the Pantheon was originally a temple, its niches held statues of Roman gods and deified emperors like Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. After the 7th century, when the building was converted into a church, the pagan statues were removed and replaced with Christian saints and martyrs. Most original Roman statues are lost, but the architecture still shows where they once stood, watching silently over ceremonies, offerings, and imperial rituals. The Pantheon's floor is almost completely original, dating back to 120 AD when Emperor Hadrian rebuilt the temple. It's made from huge slabs of marble imported from across the Roman Empire. Purple porphyry, Egyptian yellow marble, Greek white marble, and deep red granite. Rain inside the Pantheon through a cupolas isn't a mistake, it's design. 2000 years ago, the Romans shaped this marble floor with a gentle curve, letting every drop glide across it like a quiet ripple. Hidden between the tiles are tiny drains, swallowing the rain as if the building itself is breathing it in. Only the Pantheon can make engineering feel like poetry. Inside the Pantheon, with its ancient light pouring down, I had this tiny moment of hesitation. I wasn't sure if I should pull out the long selfie stick. It just felt awkward. So I took a breath, gathered a little courage, and asked a stranger, a sweet girl standing nearby, if she could take a picture of me and my partner. And she didn't just say yes. She captured a moment that feels like it will stay with us forever. Sometimes the smallest courage makes the most precious memories. After exploring, exhaustion finally hit. We went back to our room for a nap. Mr. 612 bus then caught our beloved Route 83, our unofficial best friend of the trip. After resting, we got ready again and ran for yet another bus. It being Sunday, buses were either being delayed or just missed. But of course, number 83 saved us again.
You don't need to scan your 48-hour bus pass every time you board. You only need to validate it once. Right there. All right, we're ready.
After a long meeting of decision making, we returned to the Pantheon Square for dinner. Italy has never failed me as a vegetarian. Every pasta felt like a warm hug. My partner, on the other side, missed Indian flavors here and there, but most of the time, it has been good for him too. After dinner came gelato, obviously, and then a walk to the Trevi Fountain, glowing beautifully even around midnight. We missed our last bus too, but honestly, I didn't mind. It was our last night in Rome, and walking back meant more time under the glowing sky, discovering corners we wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Getting a gelato near Trevi Fountain.
Okay, 12 euro.
Thank you. Thanks.
We took our bus from the Colosseum, and let me tell you, the Colosseum at night is a whole different world. Silent, golden, majestic. We stayed for a few minutes just taking it in. A funny moment followed. My partner said Askita is the next stop while we were in the bus, where Askita simply means exit. We were laughing out loud in the bus, and I snapped a picture to keep it as a memory. We reached home, washed up, and crashed into bed. Rome gave me the deepest sleep, peaceful, uninterrupted, and full of excitement for the next day. And a little thank you to my mom for calling every morning and waking me up, especially on the nights I slept before setting the alarm. I will really appreciate if you support my channel by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing it with your friends. Until next time, keep loving yourself. Ciao.